Hello and welcome to another Energis AI tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at a user problem using the AINet platform. So to give some background, the user was conducting experiments on mice as part of a research lab. The user collected metabolomics data on the mice, with some of the data being taken before the experiment was performed and some of it being taken after. Additionally, some vital information about the mouse such as the weight and gender were also recorded. So the problem that we're going to solve is that a few of the samples lost their identification tags after the data was collected and could not be identified. So to solve this, we're going to build an AI to find the matching mouse to the metabolomics data. To begin, we're going to take a look at the metabolites data given to us by the user. This was done in Excel format. And off the bat, we can see that we have a mouse body weight, a tissue weight, a label, as well as a whole bunch of metabolomics data, about 160 columns to be exact, as well as the identification tag. The user also provided another spreadsheet of just the unknown mouse metabolites data. These would correspond to these 160 columns that we discussed earlier. The user mentioned that they would be able to identify the mouse based off of the mouse body weight, the gender, as well as if we could tell whether or not the experiment has been performed or not. So to start, we're going to split up this Excel spreadsheet of all the known data into an input and an output CSV file. So to start, we'll go File, Save As, and then we'll browse and we'll save it into the same folder as a .csv format. And we're going to call this one metabolites inputs. Hit save. And we're going to save another copy of it, and we're going to call it metabolites outputs. File save, same location as outputs. So in the outputs file, which is what we're in right now, we're going to take all of these inputs that we're going to be teaching the AI model on, and we're going to get rid of them. And then we're going to come over into our inputs file, which will show up here. And we're going to get rid of these first four columns. So we're going to save that, and we're done with setting up our inputs file. Our outputs file, we want to change these to make a little bit more sense to the AI. So the exact name is not something that we mentioned that we needed to have the AI trained on, because the user already knows what name is associated with what mouse. The mouse body weight is something that we're going to keep. Same with the tissue weight. And then we have this label here and whether or not the experiment has happened. So T0 relates to the experiment not having happened to this mouse, and T48 refers to the experiment having happened to this. So we're going to actually split this up into two more columns. So we're going to have our gender, and here we're going to have a gender of male as a 0, which is what the M denotes, and a gender or as a female as a 1. So we'll fill that out, put 0 here, and 1 here. Similarly, for the experiment, we're going to type our header experiment there, and if the experiment hasn't happened, we're going to put a 0. And if the experiment has happened, we're going to put a 1. This is just giving a number format to these labels here, and then we can get rid of this column. Now that our input and output data is set up, as well as our future to be fed in data, we can set up our AI model using the AINet platform. So opening up our AINet platform, it connects to the server, and you can see I've already added in our model that we're going to use. For reference, this model here is the basic small numerical model. It allows for 200 input nodes. I have it set for two max layers with 50 hidden nodes. So here I'm going to set up our layers. I'm going to go for 1 layer here, and then I'm going to I'm going to take our maximum of 50 nodes. I'm going to do a couple extra advanced settings just to open it up. Here I want a ReLU transfer function because we have a few outputs that are not just 0 or 1. If all of our outputs were 0 or 1, perhaps a tanh function here would work better, but not in this case. As well as our number of input data headers and our number of output data headers on our data files. In both cases, we set these up with 1 data header each. So clicking on the three dots off to the side, it pulls up our file browser where we can select our input data and our output data, and we can submit it to the server. Here it's saying that we cannot submit our data because we have a relative loss function. Our actual output data involves zeros and ones, so we cannot use a relative output loss function. We're going to have to switch this over to a linear loss function, and we can submit our model. The data then will then upload to the server, and it will train our model. We can revisit this model again once it is done training, and it'll show up here as an active model. So now that our model is done training, we can come back into the AINet platform and we can put in our input data of our unknown mice metabolomics, and we can select our output data location. In this case, I'm going to select the same folder that I've been using for this demonstration, and I can submit it to the server. It'll take about a couple seconds or so, and as we can see, it's already dropped in the output file here. So we can open that up and we can see what it's released. And just for comparison, I'll also open up the original outputs that we put in. So we can just take the header file and copy it over and insert this at the top. I'm going to save that. And now I can send this back to the user and say this is the data that we have determined off of our AI model. Here we can see a little bit of a discrepancy here as we have mouse body weight as 43 and 62, which is much larger than any of the other mice that we found. This could just be due to the actual training or the architecture of the model that we put in. This is why in some cases it might be a good idea to use the advanced model instead of the basic model, just to try to avoid circumstances where the model might not be 100% accurate. Another thing to note here is that it doesn't tell a perfect 0 or a 1 on the male-female in the experiment. This is likely due to us using a ReLU function instead of a tanh function, which will snap to a 0 or a 1 value better than a ReLU function will. But essentially what this is saying is here where we have this 18 or 0.18, it's saying that there is an 18% chance that it's male and an 82% chance that it's female. And with that, we've completed our metabolomics data analysis and determined the mouse body weight, tissue weight, gender, and experiment for the user to determine what sample the metabolomics data is from. For more information on AINet and setting up the platform, as well as an example setting up a stock analyzer, please click on the video on your screen now. Otherwise, please like and subscribe for more information on setting up AI models and using AINet. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your future AI projects.